All right, good morning everybody. As you know, we're burning the Boy Scout campground today. For those of you who don't know, it's a private in-holding within the park. I'm Jack Weir, I'll be the burn boss today. All resources are in place for the Boy Scout RX. We're within parameters and we're going to begin the test fire.
Keep right on going right along the edge here, that's good. Just keep right on going, buddy. Keep right on going. And then go down to that palmetto right in there and stop. And we'll just watch them.
We're going to begin a test fire on the southwest corner of the unit. Ideally, we'll have a fairly good consumption rate, but we're going to ensure that the fire behavior is going to not be too much and not be too little at the same time. This will be the third time since I've worked at Everglades that I've burned this unit. The last time we burnt was in 2008, and I was acted as a firing boss, directing the ignitions on the unit. Firing boss, the holding boss, and myself, along with the FEMO, will assess the conditions and the fire behavior and look at the parameters of the burn, ensure that we're meeting our objectives. We all agree that we're meeting our objectives, then we will proceed to start ignition starting on the southwest corner of the unit. What do you think, Jen?
I think it's a go, Jack.
We're getting pretty good consumption. It wasn't backing very well, but with the little bit of flanking fire, backing fire came together pretty nice. We got some cloud cover, so project the fire behavior to pick up throughout the day. High RHs right now, but I think for the conditions we got, I think it's meeting our objectives right now. You guys agree?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, the test fire is complete. We're going to go ahead with ignitions at this time.
So far, we're having in the shrubs flame lengths of 2 to 3 feet, and we're calculating rates of spread.
And I start my timer. So it's 11:45:04.
Okay.
And then just watch. And when it reaches that tree, I stop the timer.
Firing! Firing! First objective is to provide for firefighter and public health and safety throughout proper preparation, planning, and implementation for the duration of the prescribed fire project. Second objective is ecosystem management. Reduce fine fuels, reduce fuels to break up the fuel continuity, maintain habitat diversity, and provide species refugia by creating a 50 to 75% mosaic pattern immediate post-burn. And reduce fine fuels by 75%. And reduce woody plant species covered by 10 to 25%. The campground is utilized by the Boy Scouts. They have a lot of campfires throughout the winter and utilize it pretty much every weekend. So that's one of our main objectives, is for hazardous fuel reduction to prevent the escape of a campfire. Within the Boy Scout camp, there's multiple camping facilities, shelters. So that'd be one of our objectives, is to protect the structures.
Winds are switching north to east at 4, gusting to 8. Dry bulb is 81, up 3 from last hour. Relative humidity is 58, down 13 from last hour.
One of the reasons why we're burning with the northeast wind, or east wind, is to keep smoke from impacting the road. We shouldn't have any problem directly south of the unit where the smoke most likely will head.
Hey Pat, you guys can just keep on bringing it towards 2.
Copy that.
We're seeing some of those gusty winds this morning. Looking at the map, you can see we have Brazilian pepper to the west, south, and east sides of the unit. With the northeast winds today, it'll just be pushing into the Brazilian pepper, so it's not a huge concern with the winds, but it will be affecting our lighting, obviously.
I was out dragging fire with the drip torch, putting spots out, trying to get fire to carry through the grass. We got to a point where the Brazilian pepper was encroaching on the pinelands. The fire hit the Brazilian pepper wall and just kind of stopped. So that's kind of the end of the firing there.
I'm actually the volunteer camp caretaker of Camp Everglades, one of my favorite places in the world to be. I spent a lot of time out here taking care of the camp and wanted to come see when they actually did a controlled burn. So I think it's cool, you know, just to see it burn, you know. I just wanted to see what it looked like when everything was burning. Yeah, I took the day off, and a bunch of other people, adults from my troop, took the day off from work too to come out and look at it. And those were some of the chairs from the camp, so we brought those out so we could get a ringside seat of the fire. I have a science background, so I always try to educate kids about what I think is cool things like this. So we got people out here tomorrow. Next weekend we got a big group coming out too, so we'll be doing a lot of education.
And what do kids think about prescribed fire? What are they going to think when they come here tomorrow?
I don't know. You know, most of them probably haven't seen it before, you know, at least the younger kids. And so I think people will think it looks devastated, but it's really not. You know, that's what keeps this, you know, Pine Rockland here. And it's just nice, I mean, because I know that these kind of forests don't exist unless, you know, they actually burn every few years. So it's, you know, it's nice that the park actually comes in here and does this for us so we don't become a hardwood hammock. And I always like to see the forest a couple weeks afterwards when everything's sprouting again, how quickly it comes back. That's always amazing to me.
Just let Lucas know what you're going to do so they know whether they can continue burning up and around.
Right. Yeah, just have them do
Because that's
that.
going to send, you know, if you guys are down in here and going to hang out, that might send a decent amount of fire to you if yours doesn't back in very far.
You know, every pine unit, you know, elevation change, just a couple inches makes a pretty big difference in the Everglades. So with our fire effects group, they've put 5 different plots within the unit.
We are observing some fire effects plots that we installed here a little while ago. It's just a clump of young pole-sized seedling trees
114 now.
to see what effect different types of firing ignitions have. So head fire, backing fire, flanking fire, to see if different rates of mortality occur to the trees based on those different types of ignition.
And then you guys will come back here when to monitor?
Well, immediate post-burn, and then again in 6 months, and then in a year, and then we'll cut it off. So we should be able to see within a year what has survived and what hasn't.
He pretty much got everything. As soon as they come down the main park road and tie into the gate here, we'll be all wrapped up.
All right, I think we got everybody. We'll go ahead and start. But, you know, I think it went pretty well. I think everybody communicated well. You know, we had the partners, Big Pine and Florida Forest Service. I appreciate everybody's hard work today. We've got a little smoky in some areas and a little hot and snakes around and all that. But you know, we do have Boy Scouts coming in tomorrow about 4 o'clock. We got a little bit of rain that helped out for the mop up. But you know, we want to make sure that everything's safe. The Boy Scouts coming in over the weekend. So we'd like all 3 engines to come back up here in the morning. All right, thanks everybody. I think operationally the burn went really well. You know, as far as protecting the values, we had good coordination from the firing and the holding. We didn't have really any safety concerns. We did see quite a few snakes throughout the day. It's been about 4 days since we ignited the fire. This morning we did an aerial recon over the unit and just looked to see how much percentage of the unit burned. You know, one of our objectives was to create a 50 to 75% mosaic within the unit after the flight recon this morning. I think we probably are a little bit over the 75% on the high end of that objective. But there is a pretty large section in the middle of the unit that's left unburned. And then, you know, right across the road to the north, we have quite a few 1,000 acres of pine blocks. It'll definitely be easier to fight fire in this area. Really happy with the burn, and there was quite a different amount of fire effects as far as we had some good backing fire, flanking fire, some areas with some head fire. You know, I'm excited to see the effects in the upcoming months. It's an interesting unit to burn because it is so compartmentalized with the different camps. Like I said, we had a lot of backing fire and flanking fire and trying to protect all the structures within the unit, and the moving parts with the people on the road and the bystanders and law enforcement. It's a challenging unit, although it's small, but at the same time, you know, it's a really enjoyable unit to burn.